everybody. My name is Kelsey Egan. I am a Senior Student Success Advisor at PLU. I work in the Center for Student Success, and today I am joined by a couple of faculty members and my coworker, Austin. We're going to talk to you guys about advising in the Center for Student Success and just a few other things. But I do want to let everybody have a chance to introduce themselves. So I will start with my left of the screen, Dr. Papadopoulos.
All right. You're actually above you on my screen. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Harry Papadopoulos, and I'm the Associate Dean of Kinesiology. And this is my 8th year at PLU.
Awesome. All right, Austin.
Hey everybody, my name is Austin Byerman. I am an advisor in the Center for Student Success. I'm on my 3rd year in a staff capacity, but before that I was a student for 4 years. So this is going to be my 7th year in and around PLU. So, hi y'all.
All right, and Dr. Luther.
Hi, my name is Dr. Kate Luther, and I am the chair of the Department of Sociology and Criminal Justice. And I think this is right around my 12th year. I need to do the exact math, but I'm right around that mark.
Awesome. Thanks everybody for joining. I do want to remind all of our participants before we get started that if you have questions or comments, anything you want us to address throughout this meeting, you can use the Q&A function that's at the bottom of your screen. So just a quick overview of the things we are going to cover today. We are going to talk about the Center for Student Success, which some of you guys have already interacted with, but we'll give you a little more information about that office where Austin and I work. We'll also talk to you about what you can expect from our office as far as advising goes. And then we will talk about declaring your major, what that looks like, when you may do that, and what you guys should expect from your faculty advisors. So we'll get a really good look at how your years are going to progress at PLU as far as advising goes. So let's start with the Center for Student Success. Austin, can you talk a little bit about what the center does and some of our services?
Yeah, thanks Kelsey. So we're kind of broken into 4 parts in the Center for Student Success. The one you've probably already interacted with, or the first one you'll interact with, is our advising office. And we have a bunch of professional advisors in there who work to help students get integrated at PLU, registered, and make sure you're on the right track to graduate in your allotted time frame. So we're kind of like the extra squad once you are declared. So faculty advisors need some support. They'll reach out to us and we'll support them doing some of the more nitty-gritty nuanced things as needed. So that's the first office. We have our tutoring office, academic assistants, and we have a bunch of nationally accredited tutors who work with students to make sure they can meet their academic goals and have extra support in their classes. We have a testing center, so if you need to retake a test for some reason, either gone for athletics or you have academic accommodations and you need extra time on your tests, we provide that service. And our final office is the Center for Military Support, and we help military affiliated students be successful at PLU. So there's a bunch of things that we offer, but what I tell particularly incoming students is if you don't know where else to go, contact the Center for Student Success and we'll get you to where you need to be. So yeah, that's a broad 10,000 feet overview, and if folks have questions, I'm willing to drill down a bit more on some specifics. You're muted.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you, Austin. Still getting used to Zoom, even though we've been doing this for 3 months. So thank you for that overview, Austin. I do want to go a little bit more into detail about the advising piece of the Center for Student Success. So a lot of you have already had those initial interactions with an advisor. We may have met with you all to register you for your fall classes. We may have only emailed back and forth to get ready to meet with you. But really, your first experience with advising at PLU is going to be with one of our professional advisors here. So it's likely not going to be with the faculty advisor. And so we work with you on coming into PLU and looking at what classes you're bringing in, what those classes count for, checking to make sure that every class that you took at your former college is actually showing up at PLU. We are going to meet with you all one-on-one and work as closely as we can with you to make sure that your classes are counting for the right things, that you're going to be able to graduate in the timeline that you want, and that you're in the right major. We'll help you kind of explore those options if you need to, because we do end up, everybody changes their major at one point. Most of us do. I changed mine about 4 times, so no judgment there. But that's a little bit about what we are going to do with you all. We will work with you that first semester to get you registered for your classes. Most of you guys, though, are coming in and you have enough credits to get declared in your major. And so we are going to be that handoff to you for you to move into a faculty advising. So you would be working with someone like Dr. Papadopoulos or Dr. Luther after your first semester at PLU if you're coming in with enough credits. And if you're deciding that you're ready to declare your major and this is what you're for sure going to be doing. And so we'll work with you up until that point, and we are still available as a resource after you start working with a faculty member. But at first, we're going to just be with you, get you registered, answer your questions, show you what your timeline may look like. And that's kind of it. You're often free with a faculty member and they get you really involved in your major. So I do want to start really quick before we get into talking with Dr. Luther and Dr. Papadopoulos about declaring your major. I would like to ask Austin, what does that process look like for declaring your major, and when do you declare it?
Such a good question. So kind of what the timeline for transfers will look like is in early to mid-August, you'll be receiving an email from our office, the Center for Student Success, connecting you with a faculty member who will be your advisor. And how it works, we kind of break incoming transfer students into 2 categories. Students who are below 30 PLU credits, and that's about a year at a community college, 30 credits, and students have more than 30 credits. Students who have more than 30 credits get paired with a faculty advisor right away. Folks who are under 30 credits typically start with Kelsey, who's our transfer admission advisor. And that will be the first step. And each department does it a little bit differently. Some majors, like in our School of Nursing, once you're accepted into the nursing program, you're declared. Some majors will have you have a Zoom meeting with the chair to declare your major. And some have a form. So what it'll look like for you in these next couple of months is in August, you'll get an email saying, hey, here's someone to connect with. And then you'll be connected and they'll tell you how to declare your major from there.
Thank you, Austin. Okay, so Dr. Papadopoulos, would you mind sharing what the process of when a student comes to you and says that they're ready to declare their major, what does that look like?
Okay, so the process is kind of like what Austin explained, at least for us in kinesiology, is that usually I receive an email from academic advising that a student wants to declare into our major. And we tend to have a meeting pre-COVID-19. It was in my office. Post-COVID-19, most likely it's been on a Zoom meeting. And then we talk about the interest of the student, why they want to declare that particular major. And then we make a declaration. It's a very quick process. And then at that meeting, I typically assign the student to an academic advisor who is in our department and knows the information about the classes that we offer a little bit more detailed. And I asked the student to actually then communicate with that particular academic advisor to set up a time to meet and create maybe a potential academic pathway or a course of study.
Right. That sounds awesome. Thank you. Dr. Luther, does this process look similar for you folks in criminal justice and sociology, or how do you all handle this?
So we're very similar to that. The only thing I would add is that during that initial meeting that I have as chair with students, I do set up their pathway for them for the major. And what's really great is students already come from your office with a plan, I would say in general, for all of their general education classes. So they typically have this list of here's all the other things I need to do. And we take that and we add the sociology and criminal justice piece on top of it and plot out their plan. And then I send them to their assigned advisor. And ideally, I try to set students up with an advisor in our department who shares their area of interest or teaches the classes that they're really interested in. But I'm not always able to do that. But it looks very similar, I would say, to what we just heard.
Awesome. So you both mentioned pathways. What is that code for? What does that actually mean? What does that look like?
So what I mean with pathways, and this might be different for others, is, here are so for sociology, it's 10 classes or 10 plus classes for the major. Here's when you're going to take research methods. Here's when you're going to take statistics. Here's the right order of things. And I'm holding my hands out because I usually do this on a piece of paper. Now I do it on a Google Doc, kills me. But we plot that all out. And the other thing that I think is nice about plotting it out is a student will say something like, oh, I have a minor and I've got a bunch of classes this semester for my minor, or I want to study away. And we're like, so we slow down and we say, okay, we're going to block this time out and block this time out. And then we set up their plan, which always can change, but we set it up so that they're ready to look forward and don't miss anything, because I think for transfer students, it's a limited amount of time and you want to make sure everything's on that plan.
Definitely. Thank you, Dr. Luther. Is that similar for you, Dr. Papadopoulos, as far as the pathway goes?
Yes, very similar to that one. And as Dr. Luther mentioned, is that I tend to do it a little bit also, sometimes checking on what classes the students have been scheduled to take for their first semester to make sure that we didn't miss anything. And if the interest of the students is in a concentration that I am more aware of, I usually try to do that course of study or academic pathway. Whereas if it's in, for example, in physical education with certification, I usually assign that immediately to that particular faculty and have them to create an academic pathway, because they know exactly what the sequence of classes the student needs to take. And it's very important in a lot of our courses that there has to be a specific sequence of courses that they need to be taken. So that's what we call academic pathway.
Wonderful. So for all the planners out there, this is great for you guys because it tells you exactly what you'll be needing to take and when you're going to take it. So no stress. So I do want to ask our next question. What can students expect from this faculty advisor relationship? And how is that relationship going to change, during their undergrad versus after they graduate? Do they still stay connected? So if you could give us just a little bit of insight to this relationship. Dr. Papadopoulos, I'll let you start.
Thanks, Kelsey. This question has a lot of layers, I would say that, one of the things that I want to make clear to the students is that an academic advisor, at least the way that we see it in our department, is not someone that just simply you visit to get your authorization code and your classes that you need to take for your next semester. It starts creating a little bit of more of a relationship. We try to see the student-faculty advisor relationship more about an interplay. So when the student comes, typically we ask them to review their CAP report first, to be a discussion rather than just here is your schedule. Please go ahead and register for those classes. We also we see that relationship as being the academic advisor, someone that can listen to the student and then provide some resources for the student, especially if they have any particular issues. We try to assist the student up to a certain extent. I tend to take several questions, especially after registration. I was not able to get into a class. As an academic advisor, I'm not able to allow students to enroll to anybody else's classes besides my own. But we can actually try to help them maybe reconfigure the academic pathway to allow them to see that there is other options that they can take. And I will say this, I think that a lot of us, at least in our department, what we do is that we try to be also the academic advisor that at times we will tell the student the brutal truth somehow, to understand that certain things that they might not like, that it has to be done. And we just try to be as honest as we possibly can with our students on our academic advising. If we're looking about afterwards, I would say besides writing letters of recommendations for admission to schools, we tend to get a lot of questions about changes career paths and what we think about those changes. And if we know of particular schools that help students to get that particular career, and how can we help them with that particular change in their lives. So we try to maintain that relationship even past the time that they are at PLU.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Dr. Luther, can you answer the same question? Let me know if you need to, if I need to repeat it for you.
No, I'm good. And I agree with everything that Dr. Papadopoulos just said. I'll add a couple things. One of the things that I see as part of my role as an advisor is being a problem solver. And this goes with telling hard truths sometimes also, but faculty at PLU care deeply about the students that we work with. And my goal is always to establish a relationship with the student so that they feel comfortable coming to me when they're like, I'm taking this class, it's going terribly, what do I do? Or like, I had a student who I advised her out of the sociology major because I helped her find her true passion. That's not what I want to do, but actually it is what I want to do. It's what I want to do for her. It's not what I want to do for my major. So my hope is that students come to myself and to all of my colleagues for us to help them figure out the problems that they're working through. Sometimes students just come to their advisors to talk about, you know, doing this major, I don't really know what I'm interested in post-PLU. So I love having conversations with students about like their career pathways. And I know a lot of us do that. And we talk about internships and who could you network with, who could you connect with to think about what this major is going to look like post-PLU. I find being an advisor to be like one of the most rewarding parts of my job. And it's because that relationship extends past graduation. So right now, my colleagues and I owe one of our alum a celebration lunch for getting into law school. So I wrote a letter of recommendation for him. He got into law school. And as soon as COVID's over, we said, we're taking him out to lunch to celebrate. So we stay in touch with our alumni, and I love the ability to continue to see where they are career-wise, and to also work on networking them with our current students. So in our department, we invite a lot of our former alum back to campus to speak in classes or at career events.
Great, thank you. So Dr. Luther, you talked on this a little bit, but I do want to kind of ask a broader question about this. How should, when should students prepare to do these internships and practicums and study aways and these kind of experiences? And how do their faculty members, you guys as advisors, how do you help facilitate those things?
Well, I'm a planner, so I think in an ideal world, we start talking about it during their first meeting with their academic advisor. And I think this is especially true for transfer students. You have a limited number of years at PLU, whether that's 3 years or 2 years, and you need to plot these things out. A lot of majors have particular sequences that have to happen in courses. So if you want to study away, it's got to be done the right semester or the right J term. Internships, I think, are something, at least in our major, that can be done at more flexible points and can be done numerous times. But you still want to be at the right point in your major to make sure that you're prepped to do that internship. So I like having that conversation the first time that we meet to really start thinking about who do we need to connect you to think about internships? What semester are we ideally going to say you're going to do an internship? And then students come back at a follow-up meeting and we keep working through that. And it's just kind of a continuing conversation.
Great, thank you. Dr. Papadopoulos, is it sort of similar with the kinesiology major as far as the internships and practicums go and how the faculty in your department assists with that?
Okay, a little bit different for us. What our students, they have to do is they have to apply for the internship. So we have an application. We ask the students to complete that application 9 months before the semester that they plan to take their internship. And the reason is because we tend to place the students. So the academic advisors are not responsible for placing the students. So we have a faculty and a staff person that is going through the list of students that they need to do an internship in a specific semester. And then we approaching our partners in the community to find for placements for our students. And those placements can vary anywhere from physical therapy clinics all the way to hospitals. And the process is we need to have that one in the process for us is because the certain placements require an extensive list of paperwork that needs to be completed before the student is eligible to start their internship. Several placements, they're requiring background checks, they're requiring references. So we tend to make sure that the students know exactly what they need to do for those placements. And then of course our clinical placements, they're requiring a list of immunization records, and the students need to update some cases of those immunization records. And the process takes about 4 to 6 weeks before we have a student cleared for an internship. So we have a little bit of a different process. And we ask our academic advisors at least to talk with their students that when they're within that 9-month period before the semester that they tend to take their internship, to submit that internship application online so we have them on our list of our students that they're planning to do. For practicums, it's a little bit different. They are part of their minor typically, and we allow the students to do their own selection of placement. So then that will be an opportunity for them to learn under the direction of maybe of a coach or a professional. And we allow them to have that opportunity for them to do that one based on their own network that they have.
Great, thank you. I just want to remind our participants that if you guys have questions, to use that Q&A function. We have one last question on my end, and then if you guys have anything else, if we have time, we'll cover those. So the last question that I have, we'll start with Dr. Papadopoulos. What can students do to prepare for their junior and senior years at PLU when they are with those faculty advisors?
There are several things. I was probably going to put it as 5 things. The first one for me is the student needs to be familiar with their CAP report. And I'm not sure if they understand the term yet. I mean, if the transfer students, maybe Austin, have already talked with the students. But the CAP report is exactly where we see, at least from our end as well, to the classes that the student has already taken or transfer, and the classes that the student still needs to take. So familiarity with a CAP report is an important element. The other thing I would say is to attend as many information sessions that they are available, just like this one, or maybe if the Wong Center has one for study away. If the student wants to do a study away program, they need to let us know quickly as soon as possible so we can plan their academic pathway to make sure that this study away can fit within their schedule. It will not interfere with other classes. If they're taking an entire semester, like the fall or the spring, we need to identify classes that they maybe can able to transfer from that study away program, so that will help them towards graduation. And then I would say my fourth one is to connect with their fellow classmates. And finally, to reach out to their academic advisor. As Dr. Luther mentioned before, that relationship is important, and don't see us as distant. Understand that our relationship as academic advisor and a student is different than the relationship that we have with you in our class. I'm an instructor at that point, whereas as an academic advisor, just reach out to us and come and visit with us. We have resources and we can help the students to find solutions to any problems that they might be encountering.
Awesome, that is great advice. Thank you. Dr. Luther, same question. Is there anything that you can add to that?
Well, all of my answers were stolen, but that's totally okay.
I apologize.
Oh no, don't apologize. It makes my job easier. I would just really highlight the last point about, reaching out, not being intimidated to come visit us. I always tell my students a story about my brother went to a local state school and he was floundering. I was like, go to your advisor, please. Like, if I can give you one piece of advice, well, I don't know them, I'm scared of them. And that's one of the things that really makes me thankful to work at a place like PLU, because we know our students. And I will say that if you don't come to us when we email you to talk about your schedule, or if we know you're struggling, like, I reach out to my colleagues and I say, like, hey, how is this student doing? Can you check in with them? We really care, and this is part of our job. And we really just ask that you come to us when you don't know what to do, that you come to us with your questions, that you try to problem solve with us in advance. I always appreciate students who are like, hey, I need to check in about this and don't know what's going on. We can help you out in advance. So please don't think about us as your professor, like in the classroom sense for advising. We're here to help and support you, and we want to see you in our offices as soon as COVID's over. We'll happily see you on Zoom all the time, and then hopefully at 6 feet very soon, and then eventually face to face very close after we're all vaccinated.
Yep, thank you. So I do have one question really quick. How often should students meet with their advisors for each of you? What do you think? We'll start with Dr. Papadopoulos.
Ooh, that's difficult to answer. I mean, definitely there is one meeting that the students will have with us during advising week or when we advise them. But I would say that it's one of the things that as needed, I would say. I mean, if there is issues that they're facing, they need to reach out to us as quickly as they possibly can to plan. And I would say this, there is a difference between a little bit about walking to someone's office versus scheduling in an appointment. Most of us, at least in our department, we have an open door policy, so you can walk in, but sometimes we might not be able to meet with you at that point and might be requiring to schedule an appointment. So just use both ways, just walk into our offices and see if there is a way that we can meet right there. Or if not, maybe just schedule an appointment, and we are really typically most of us within 24 to 48 hours, we're responding to those email requests to meet with our students. If it doesn't happen within 48 hours, that would be another advice, is just reach out again. Sometimes something else happened. Maybe we were not able to respond to that email. Just after 48 hours, send another follow-up email, and I can guarantee you academic advisors will meet with you within 24 hours after that. So.
Awesome, thank you. Dr. Luther, anything to add to that question?
Nope, that's exactly how I would answer it.
Wonderful. Okay, so that is all of our questions that we have. I do want to thank you all for participating and for joining us. Thank you, Austin. Thank you, Dr. Papadopoulos. Thank you, Dr. Luther. As a reminder to all of our transfer students, We love when you use your PLU emails and when you check those emails every day. So please be on those emails. And you can reach out to admission, to the CSS, to your faculty advisors if you have any. Please let us know if you have any questions. And we look forward to seeing you all in the fall. Take care, everyone.